I made a new friend today. His name is Roman. He recently joined our team at Outlier Strategy, where YouTube Strategy is helping, working with some of the biggest YouTube channels in the world. And I had conversated with him, messaged him on Slack, seen him on team meetings for about 2 weeks. But today we finally set aside some time to be able to have a conversation, have a one-on-one, have a catch up. And by the end of that catch up, I remembered like these two like sentences that I said to him. The first of which was, "Hey man, it feels like I've known you for the past 4 years." And the second one was, "If you ever come down to Australia, I will personally host you." And it was crazy that at the start of the conversation, a person whom I just looked at as like a mere co-worker, as an accomplice, as just like work friend, became this like became I sort of developed this connection through this conversation that allowed me to say those things. And I want to share a little bit about why and how that happened. And long story short, he basically just shared his entire life story, and so did I. We just went turn by turn, and he shared his entire life story all the way from, growing up, how his upbringing was like, his parents, and basically all the big major turning points in his life of basically leaving home, traveling abroad at 17, and joining a company, leaving there to going to all the way to Thailand, spending a year there, and all the ups and downs, and all the moments of just like everything, basically. Um, and I don't want to reveal too much of his story, but I'll mention like some bits to sort of prove a point in that there was so much diversity and so much nuance and depth and color that he added to these stories. He told me about leaving his parents at 17, traveling to Switzerland to basically study, to then basically going to Thailand for a year to do some stuff there, and then going to the US, trying to climb the corporate ladder, getting into Yale, getting an interview at Harvard, to doing, getting into Cornell University to study an MBA. And then in his 20s, getting an amazing salary that allowed him to buy a Mustang in Las Vegas, I think. And he basically was going like drag racing and stuff. So he told me this variety of stories. And then he also told me the time he almost died. He got into a car accident. And at the time, he was also like a very competitive like water polo dude. And basically like those muscles saved his life. I'm butchering his story, but the point is to show you the variety of stories he shared and the emotional variation all these stories had, from like the triumphs, the good times, the bad times, the sad times, the confusing times, the figuring it out. And he shared that entire thing, and it was very interesting because by the end of his story, I felt almost not obligated, because obligated almost feels like I don't want to do it and I have to do it, but I felt compelled. I wanted to share my own story with him, and I did that, and we connected over it and we bonded over it. And the last 10, 15 minutes of the call was basically us talking about how great his city is. He lives in Las Vegas, and how great, Australia is, and how we would love to basically, meet up in real life. If he's ever coming to, Australia, I'd love to host him, that sort of stuff. And this entire meeting was 60, 70 minutes. And the reason I'm telling you this story is I feel like I and you both need to have more of these conversations. And the reason for that is life and us humans are social beings, and life is built on social relationships. And if having one conversation can strengthen a social bond and relationship and understanding for one another this much, then imagine the compounding events of that relationship for the rest of my life. I will see and work and message this dude again and again for the next weeks, maybe months, maybe years. And I've also made a lifelong friend. Well, at least it feels this way. I may be jumping the gun on that one. I don't know how it feels about me. But yeah, go out there and share your story. I think this may have actually inspired me to actually potentially maybe do some strategy work to figure out a way on how I can share my story on YouTube to be able to connect with people, and leverage that. So yeah, share your story and yeah, connect.